Fantastic. We are still on that particular issue on how indeed only 61,000 accounts at the CDSC are active out of the 2.03 million that were registered if you go all the way back to 2008 at the onset of the Safaricom IPO. Now, let's look at exactly then what this means in terms of how we expose our capital markets. If you look online, this was a trending issue this week then. They say that indeed the government has failed to support the capital markets in the country. When you see something like this happen, what kind of support do we envision the government to give the capital markets in the country so that it can spur investment? Because even at this time, when we're talking about these accounts not really being active, the government over the other side is preaching a story of how our GDP is increasing. You like to think that the capital markets would be a proper indicator of our GDP increasing or growing. Wahome.
Just like you mentioned, I think you mentioned the government bond, the infrastructure bond. Government looking out for 75 billion, actually getting 132 billion.
Yes.
And immediately the appetite did grow, so the government didn't take 75 billion, they actually took 95 billion.
Yes.
Roughly just about 13% guaranteed return for 19 years. Yeah. And no tax on that. I am not sure where you want to put in your money. Do you want to put in money where it's coming that easily? Or do you want to put it in a speculative environment?
Yes.
So government is actually muzzling out the Capital Markets Authority when it is actually doing its bonds on the other side.
Yes.
The other thing is, I think we need more counters. We need more organizations. We need to bring the economy to accessible to many more people.
Yes, I'm sorry to cut you short there. That particular statement, I've heard it over and over again. I mean, investors have heard it over and over again. They say, wow, there's 3,000 plus companies in the Kenyan economy. Some of them are bigger than the biggest companies that we do know in this country. They need to be brought on to the capital markets. But whose sole responsibility is that, Wahome?
Government runs the country. We vote them. We pay them to run this country. So it is them to put in the incentives.
Yes.
That will make it practical for companies to list and get the benefits of listing.
Yes.
And I think we got a good experience. The companies that have listed are doing well. And the citizens are enjoying when the companies are growing. We have seen Safaricom is a good example here. Kengen is a good example. East Africa Breweries. And the citizens have a chance and a stake in the economy of the country.
Yes.
So if you had more companies listing, make it easier. It will be easier for the common man on the streets to actually be a part of the people running the economy of this country.
Yes.
We've gone a long way. This boss was actually a coffee table at the Stanley with only 6 guys seated around the table. And it was impractical to buy or sell unless you knew one of those 6 guys. We went to the physical space at Nation Center, now in the virtual space. So we should have more counters so that we have more people able to participate. All these nice private companies that are doing well, they should be incentivized to come on the boards.
Yes, pretty much. Now, Abraham, let's clear this conversation like this then, and I'd like us to look at that equity market trend as well, and you will see, indeed, what we need to talk about that there, Abraham, even as we have that snapshot from 2019 to 2021, is that the highest we saw was back in 2014, when it was at 215.7 billion back in 2014. Since then, Abraham, it has been a downhill trend up to when we're talking about the effects of the coronavirus pandemic, when we went bearish as well. But the conversation around that is, why has this trend been with the local market since 2014 to date? And then lastly, Abraham, when we look at this ratio of active accounts vis-a-vis the inactive accounts, and then when you look at the wealth at the bourse, 57% of it is now held by foreign investors. How does this then expose the bourse to external shocks?
You see, my colleague has put it very well.
Yes.
you have money to invest. Do you want to invest it in a speculative environment or in a stable environment?
Yes.
So you see the money market is taking money out of the bourse, and that's not normally happens.
Yes.
And when the money market is not doing well, then all the money comes this way. Now, the drop in turnover could be due to various reasons. But one of the main reasons, again, and I repeat, is the liquidity aspect of it. Mm-hmm. You find that there's not enough to keep going. So somebody goes in, they get to a saturation level, and then they go for other options.
Yes.
So we cannot run away from the fact that we need to grow the counters that are active, the counters that are liquid enough. You know, yeah, you could have many counters, but you cannot put in enough money to make money, because
yes,
it is also a numbers game. The more money you put in, the more money you make. That's number one. In terms of, is it a reflection of economic growth and economic development? Yes, it is. And in this aspect. Whereas, as a boss, there's activity and there's growth. As a boss,
yes,
the participation is very low. And that's what is happening also at the economy level. Our GDP is growing at GDP level. But at economic development level, where the distribution of that growth is skewed, and is skewed to very few players. So this is a very good indication that yes, we are growing as a country, yes, we are growing as an economy, yes, we are growing as a sector or as an asset class, but the participants are reducing. So that means that benefit is being shared by fewer and fewer people. That's why you see, yes, the numbers that economy is growing, it is true. We are growing as an economy. But now that we have the growth, how are we chunking that? So we are chunking it to fewer people.
Yes.
So that is a reflection. And that's so we have to address now the distribution mechanism of that growth. So, and that even applies to the boss. How do we find a way that the retail investor can go in with 1,000 or 2,000 and feel that they're participating and make some little capital gain or make something out of it?
Yes.
Because if somebody has 1,000 to 5,000 to spare, we have to ask our minds, how can that person participate in the wars?
Yes.
Because if you address that, then these 2 million people will come back.
Pretty much. I just want us to take the next 3 minutes to look at the last issue that we have for you this morning. We're saying that you may soon have to pay for the full price of a litre of fuel, as the fuel subsidy that has kept the prices stable for the last year has put the government under pressure, leading to the Ministry of Energy mulling a stop to the program. Currently, the Fuel Stabilization Program gets its funds from the Petroleum Development Levy, PDL, but the Ministry of Petroleum and Mining now indicates that the money it has been spending to keep prices stable does not match the collections from the levy. In a briefing with the National Assembly Energy Committee, Petroleum and Mining Principal Secretary Andrew Kamau called the program, and I quote, unsustainable. The PS did not, however, indicate the timelines for the current program that has run for the past year, only revealing that over the past 1 year to June 2021, the PDL collected 26.6 billion against the current figure of 19.2 billion, leaving the available balance as of February at only 1.3 billion. Let me leave it there. Now, let's move on to that discussion this morning. We're hoping, Gary, that the fuel subsidy might end. Now, if you look at the next part, that as a result of the subsidy, that super petrol now retails at 129 a litre instead of 144 and 25 cents per litre. Diesel 110 and 60 a litre in Amobi against the actual price that should be 133.89 cents. Kerosene would have been retailing at 119 and 42 per litre against the current pump price of 103 and 54 cents per litre. Gary, can the government risk ending the fuel subsidy program?
Not for economic reasons, for political reasons.
Yes.
They are looking for votes. They do not want you to have more pain at the pump. So trust me, between now and August, you have no problem.
Yes.
The biggest problem is after you deliver your vote.
Yes.
That's when they will actually come and say, okay, we don't have the money.
Fantastic. Abraham, let me cross over to you in the studio. Just 1 minute, if you may. The facts are there. They're saying the amount of money that we're collecting from the Petroleum Development Levy that we're using currently to subsidize the fuel it is not matching the current prices. I mean, if you look at the international crude prices, they are skyrocketing. We are expecting them to touch 100 before the end of this year. And the government is saying, if you look at that, and if you look at the balance that we have currently, as of February, it is 1.3 B. Do you think they can risk stopping it for Kenyans to start buying at 144 or 150 shillings a litre?
The question is not that can they risk it?
Yes.
Can they afford it?
Can they afford it?
Because the thing is this.
Yes.
You are taxing me to subsidize me. But personally, I've sat here and I've said here before that I have never agreed with this thing because it does not make any sense.
Yes.
Because you're taxing me to subsidize me. I mean, what are you doing? It's a zero-sum game. No wonder it's not sustainable, and it's not going to be sustainable. A subsidy you can do for a month or two, but it cannot be a strategy long term. What we've been trying to postpone our pain. The truth of the matter is, it's either the government will give up some of its income, because out of that palm price, almost 50% of that are taxes and levies. So that can change to the extent that price could have.
Yes.
By the government giving up some of its income. Instead of taking it, then trying to subsidize us.
Yes.
That would be more sustainable. But of course that will affect other things because it would reduce their overall income. But the truth of the matter is the global oil prices are going up. And they probably will continue to go up as OPEC continues to do whatever they are doing. Now, if these prices kick in, they are supposed to kick in, our inflationary, general inflation rate will go above 7.5.
Yes.
When that happens, then we have to rework our monetary policy. We have to, and it will even affect our exchange rate. So what am I saying? I'm saying that one, this is not sustainable, and thank God finally they've admitted it. It never was. Two, you cannot tax me to subsidize me. So the only option left is to give up some of your income to cushion me. That is the only way it can be sustainable. But then again, think about what it is you're going to cut on your expenditure for this income that you're foregoing.
That's true.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Oof. And that's exactly what we have for you this morning. All right, let the conversation go online. Hashtag Business AM. We are trending online, so you gotta be part of that. Let's get your views as well. Are you ready to start paying 150, 160? Abraham is saying, there's always questions. This particular model where you're taxing, currently you're paying 5 shillings for the levy. He's saying, why can't you leave the prices to pay out so we try and find alternative ways in which we can cushion ourselves from the high prices of fuel. This morning, we were joined by Wahome Ngari and Abraham Thogo discussing the various issues all the way from NHIF to the capital markets and also to issues affecting the weight of the money in your pockets, fuel prices in the country. We come to the end of the show, but let the conversation go online. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kiag.